Tonight on 2020. The Big Lie. Befriended by a legend, then destroyed by him. The teenager known only as victim number one until tonight, who took on and took down Penn State's Jerry Sandusky.
It was that bad of a, ex-girlfriend that you wish you never had.
Except it's not a girlfriend, it's this 6'3", 260-pound football legend.
His fame may have kept him safe, while his victims kept piling up.
I'm just going to be another kid in the front page of the newspaper that has a big liar stamped across his forehead.
Until they realized he was telling the truth. Tonight, Chris Cuomo goes after the people he says let him down.
So you got nothing to say to Aaron, you got nothing to say to his mother. Turn the camera off now. That's all you got.
Hero number one. And think you have the perfect life? She did.
An explosion happened
the blast
inside.
Blew out the windshield
until a pipe bomb shattered the big lie she was living.
I put the key in the ignition, turn it on, and it's kaboom.
Somebody had searched on the internet 23 times how to build a bomb.
But who?
It's like, I don't know you. Who are you?
Mystery Man. And winning anybody?
winning more than Ashton Kutcher.
They're cashing in on a little white lie. Celebrity lookalikes from Kate Middleton to Charlie Sheen. Reporting tonight, Elizabeth Vargas and Chris Cuomo.
It is the ultimate David and Goliath story. Literally a child versus a towering football legend, a pillar of the community. But it wasn't just convicted former Penn State football coach Jerry Sandusky who was the victimizer. Victim number one, Aaron Fisher, says there were others who were supposed to help him but did not. So tonight we will confront them and ask for answers. Our story begins, ironically, in a place called Happy Valley.
Someone powerful at the school abused young boys.
It was a scandal of epic proportions.
Child sex abuse committed by Jerry Sandusky.
Years of glory erased.
Horrific accounts of a Sandusky basement of horrors.
Penn State, where football is religion, exposed for the ultimate sin, protecting a monster. Former coach Jerry Sandusky. But we have never seen or heard from the boy who started it all.
My name's Aaron, otherwise known as Victim 1.
But Aaron Fisher doesn't see himself as a victim anymore. He is a track star who says he's spent close to half his life trying to outrun Jerry Sandusky.
Victim means people feel sympathy for you. I don't want that. I would rather be somebody who did something good, like a hero or something.
Aaron Fisher is now 18 years old, coming forward with a book called Silent No More. The story of what it took to bring down Sandusky as a boy living in a small town where so many work for and worship Penn State.
I didn't think anybody was going to believe me ever.
Wasn't easy.
No, not at all. I was kind of thinking that he was going to get off scot-free with this, and then I'm just going to be another kid in the front page of the newspaper that has a big liar stamped across his forehead.
Aaron's story begins in the summer of 2004. Aaron was 10 years old, living in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, literally in the shadow of Penn State. That's when he got the best news of his life, an invitation to join the Second Mile, a charity for needy kids founded by Jerry Sandusky, a legend in the community, even once rumored to be a possible successor to Joe Paterno.
It was kind of like giant stuffed teddy bear. He just seemed like the all-natural father figure, like something that most kids wish that their dads did.
Especially kids like Aaron, who came from a struggling family and had no father at home. Jerry soon singled Aaron out, saying he had promise and athletic potential. He then started taking the young boy to big-time sporting events. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, and we sat in box seats. Like, that was the coolest thing ever.
Then, Jerry offered to let Aaron spend weekends with him. Aaron's mother, Dawn, was skeptical, but Jerry said he just wanted to help relieve the single mother's stress. She had 2 other kids at home, one with special needs. You're a mom. All moms have the radar. This is an older man, an adult. What did you tell yourself? Why did Jerry Sandusky want to shower attention on your son?
Well, I assumed it was because he was athletic and he had a bright future.
And Dawn says there was also the fact of who Jerry was.
Everybody knew who he was. He's a great guy. Everybody, even my own father, he said, he does great things for kids.
At first, for Aaron, it was like a vacation. Aaron described Sandusky's home as a playground, a basement decked out with everything a boy could want.
Dartboards and pool table, shuffleboard, and then little video games.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
But then things started to get weird in the 12-year-old's mind.
He put his hand on my leg while we were driving. My family never did that, so it was kind of weird, but I thought maybe that's what his family did. But it did kind of trip a little. Why is his hand there? Is this weird?
Aaron had no idea he was being groomed by a practiced manipulator. The more Jerry did for him, the more he did to him. A lot of this would happen after playtime was over, after shower time, when it's getting close to bedtime.
Yeah.
Terrible things are going on. Mm-hmm. And he would still be down there with you for a long time, right?
Yeah, give or take an hour and a half.
Aaron was just 12 years old, filled with fear, shame, and confusion.
There was so many emotions and thoughts running through my head. Being a kid, you never know what to do. You don't know who you can tell because you don't know who you can trust.
At home, Mom thought Jerry was a godsend. And at school, Jerry volunteered as a football coach. Aaron says he could simply have the boy yanked out of class anytime he felt like seeing him.
The principals would call my teacher, say, hey, we need Aaron down here. All right, and there he was, standing there. The one place I thought I could feel safe, and it's just completely shattered.
How often?
My grade in my history class was a high 90. I was failing because I was out of class so much.
Steve Turchetta is the man Aaron says delivered him to Sandusky. An assistant principal and football coach you'll meet in person later on. But back in school in those desperate moments, Aaron did what he could to protect himself.
When he would try to call me out of class, I would go sit in the bathroom and then right before the bell rang, go back to class.
You would hide from him?
Oh yeah, in the school.
What does it tell you? Aaron's one refuge was the track. How would it happen for you as you started to run? Would the thoughts go away?
If I focus on running, then everything else just kind of leaves. All the thoughts and emotions and stuff, it's just running.
He says he did everything he could to stay away from Jerry, but the more he tried to avoid him, the more aggressive Sandusky became.
He once followed my bus home from school. He told me to get in the car. I took off running. He drove on the opposite side of the street, on oncoming traffic to catch up with me, and then I ran up an alley. He went to my house and parked out front. It was that bad. It was that bad of a, ex-girlfriend that you wish you never had.
Except it's not a girlfriend. It's this 6'3", 260-pound football legend who can go anywhere he wants and do whatever he wants.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dawn was alarmed by the hundreds of phone calls and visits to the house, and also by Aaron's acting out. He was lashing out at her, and she didn't know why.
I laid down so many different hints and clues for her to catch on.
But you weren't able to say,
no,
this guy is a monster, he's sexually assaulting me.
I couldn't do it.
Why?
Embarrassment, fear of not being believed.
Then, when Aaron turned 15, he finally told Dawn something, that Jerry kept pulling him out of class. Dawn was shocked and called the school demanding answers. When she met with the principal, Karen Probst, the next morning, her worst fears were realized.
Aaron was melting down in the office. And then the principal went on to explain that Aaron had said that Jerry had done something sexual to him.
How did that hit you?
Like a rock. And I immediately, told them that we needed to call the police.
What do they say?
They tell me to go home and think about it.
Go home and think about what?
That's what I said. Go home and think about what? What is there to think about? We need to call the police right now. Jerry was in the school.
When we come back, a mother and son take on Jerry Sandusky. And we chase down the people they say should have done more. Why are you moving so fast now when you moved so slowly when Aaron needed your help? It took incredible courage for Aaron Fisher to reveal the most painful secret in his life, that Jerry Sandusky, the revered football legend, is a monster. At just 15, he was standing with his mother in the principal's office when they say they were told to go home.
They said that Jerry has a heart of gold, that he wouldn't do those type of things.
Here I am, beside my mom crying, telling her, look, they don't believe me. I knew they wouldn't.
But his mother does believe him, and she says she makes it clear to the principal she's not going home. She's going to war.
They said that everybody was upset and that we just needed to go home and think about how this would affect our family.
How do you make sense of that?
I didn't make sense of it. I was swearing at them, and I was really mad, and I told him to get his backpack. We are leaving.
They went to CYS, Child Youth Services. Aaron told just the least bit of what he had endured to psychologist Mike Gillum.
It was obvious to me immediately that he was very upset that something had in fact happened to him.
CYS called Aaron's school to make sure Sandusky was kept away from kids. Gillum says he was shocked when he heard that Principal Karen Probst had told them to go home.
School officials are all mandated reporters.
No discretion.
No discretion.
No go home and think about it.
No. They tried to dissuade them from contacting the authorities.
Even more curious, he says, only after Dawn said she was going for help did CYS receive a call from the school. Then they call.
Then they call.
Sounds like CYA.
Yes, it does.
His agency also notified the state police, which launched an investigation. It seemed Sandusky was about to get arrested. Usually one cop comes, does the interview, and within days to a month or so, there's going to be an arrest.
Yes.
But that didn't happen. Gillum says it seemed Jerry Sandusky was given the benefit of the doubt at every turn. Aaron writes in his book that over the course of 3 years, police asked him to retell his story 4 times. He had to face 2 grand juries, and yet no arrest. Prosecutors said they needed more victims to charge Sandusky. To Aaron, it meant his suffering wasn't enough. What part of you made you feel, no, it's me?
Every part, for as long as it took. The broken promises, the numerous amount of state troopers. He's going to be arrested on this date to this date. Okay? This date to this date comes, nothing.
And the whole time, Jerry's out there.
Yeah, he's not even in jail.
Randy Feathers was the lead investigator on Aaron's case. Help me with this, Mr. Feathers. You say you knew this guy was a pedophile.
Absolutely.
And you leave him out there for years. How many kids may he have molested during that time?
Well, we did do some precautions. I mean, obviously we did some surveillance.
But you know for sure that he never molested another kid during the years?
Of course not. I mean, it's not a perfect world. We did the best we could.
That's not that the best you could would have been an arrest.
Not true.
Sandusky was interviewed by CYS and laughed off the allegations, painting Aaron as a troubled kid whom he was just trying to help. Ironically, Aaron was the one being treated as a criminal. His name was leaked at school as the person who made accusations about the beloved Sandusky. He says he was bullied relentlessly. Did you start to feel like, I just don't matter? Jerry matters.
Yep, and that upset me the most. You start to doubt yourself. I thought maybe it'd be easier to kind of take myself out of the equation. I was extremely suicidal.
You felt that because of what you were getting from everybody else, it might be better if Aaron just wasn't around.
Yep. Pretty much. My mom would hate me for that, but there was numerous amount of times that I've actually tried. I wore long sleeve shirts because I cut myself. I did a whole bunch of things that I wouldn't have normally done.
Why wasn't Aaron enough?
It's easy to second guess now, but back 3 years ago, Jerry Sandusky walked on water. Literally walked on water. Was a saint. And we were going to send this 16-year-old kid up against an icon. We needed more evidence.
I don't get it. Why? Why is raping one kid hundreds of times not enough?
We had to prosecute this. Chris, if we could have arrested Jerry Sandusky the first day that Aaron came in, I'd put handcuffs on myself.
One thing's for sure, the case only really gained momentum when Mike McQueary, a Penn State football coach, testified he witnessed Sandusky molesting a boy in a university locker room. Soon, 7 more victims emerged. Then, on December 7th, 2011, more than 3 years since Aaron came forward, just after his 18th birthday, Sandusky was arrested. What kind of birthday present was that?
It was a good one. I was happy, yes, but I was more crying and, just... I wasn't expecting it.
Sandusky was convicted on 45 of 48 counts, but that wasn't the end for Aaron. There were still others who had never been held to account, others whom Aaron felt had betrayed his trust, starting with the people at his school, who say they reported his case promptly. It's Chris Cuomo from ABC News. We called and sent letters to school supervisors asking if any action had been taken as a result of Aaron. Not a single response. So we headed to his school to try to get Aaron some answers. Mr. Turchetta? Turn the camera off. Chris Cuomo from ABC News. We've been trying to get in touch with you.
Please turn the camera off.
Steve Turchetta, the man Aaron says pulled him out of class all those times for Sandusky. Turchetta would later tell a grand jury he had suspicions about Sandusky, though he didn't realize he was molesting kids.
Please turn the camera off at this time.
This is where Sandusky was allowed to get at this kid time and time again after you said to a grand jury you were suspicious of him.
Turn the camera off now.
So you got nothing to say to Aaron, you got nothing to say to his mother.
Please turn the camera off.
Nothing at all.
Please turn the camera off.
Please turn the camera on. That's all you got. And then there was Principal Karen Probst, who believed the best response to a sexual assault allegation, according to Aaron and Dawn, was to tell them to go home. She is still the principal at the school, and she was right on time for work, and we were waiting. Ms. Probst, why are you moving so fast now when you moved so slowly when Aaron needed your help? I don't understand this. Why would you avoid these questions?
They can sit there and pretend to act like they love kids and will protect kids. That's a bunch of bull.
As for Jerry Sandusky, he was sentenced just last week to 30 to 60 years in prison. But he did have one last message for Aaron.
A young man who is dramatic, a veteran accuser, and always sought attention, started everything.
It began with a veteran accuser. Who was that?
Pretty much that whole thing was directed towards me.
And made you feel?
Like crap.
But maybe there will be some partial vindication. People in Pennsylvania are now rallying behind him and demanding an investigation into how this case was handled. Aaron is now trying to get his life back on track. He plans to go to college, and one day he wants to be a state trooper, a protector. But he still has profound doubts about himself.
There's probably still people out there that don't believe that Jerry Sandusky could do this, and they might think I'm a horrible person for it.
Do you know that you're good?
I do, but the emotions and effects of other people and their actions of other people are kind of shying me away from that.
You're a good person.
I like to believe that. If you are persistent and you continue to fight for what you know is right and what you absolutely think and know is right, then good will prevail and you'll get justice out of it.
Just yesterday, Jerry Sandusky appealed his court conviction and is asking for a new trial. As for Aaron, we wish him the very best. Around here, he isn't known as victim number one. He is hero number one. We'll be right back.
Next, think you have the perfect life? She did.
An explosion happened.
The blast blew out the windshield
until a pipe bomb shattered the big lie she was living.
I put the key in the ignition, turn it on, and it's kaboom.
A mistaken identity.
Was there gambling debt? Was there some type of drug deals going wrong? We looked at every angle there was.
The Big Lie continues with Elizabeth Vargas.
What kinds of lies have you ever told your spouse? Little white lies, some big whoppers, but probably nothing like what you're about to see. Lie after lie that ended or maybe just began with an explosion. Not the kind that's a fight in the house, but a very real bomb going off.
On a quiet September afternoon, as parents picked up their kids from daycare, a scene straight from The Sopranos rocked the suburban San Diego neighborhood.
An explosion happened.
The blast blew out the windshield of the truck.
Scary moment in Rancho San.
I put the key in the ignition, turn it on, and kaboom. It just was a very, very loud explosion. Just made my heart stop.
The victim was Connie Hoagland, a daycare teacher, wife, and mother.
I saw Connie laying in the middle of the street, curled up in a ball in a pool of blood. There is glass, shrapnel, everywhere. And my first thought was, this is what it looks like in a war zone.
Someone had planted a pipe bomb in her truck, powerful enough to explode a small shack.
I just remember my feet they were in such pain. It felt like they were just jelly, like they were just blown off.
Paramedics rushed her to the hospital.
And it was just hard to see your mother like that and not know what happened yet. So you're just confused.
They literally had to rebuild her right leg. There's a rod in it, and rebuild her left foot. I'm praying, God, don't let her die.
Did you have any idea who could have put that in your truck?
That was the hard part. I just thought it was a random explosion. I couldn't think of anyone who would do that.
It didn't make sense to Detective Robert Luke either. Who would want to kill a suburban housewife like Connie? Maybe the bomb was intended for someone else at the daycare center.
There was a lot of law enforcement, people that actually took their kids there. Is someone trying to target one of these people for a case that they're working we know nothing about?
One of the policemen who was a parent of one of the kids at the daycare center, might he or she have been the target?
Yes, mistaken vehicle.
But this wasn't the first pipe bomb to turn up in the area. 2 weeks earlier, an unexploded bomb was found 2 blocks from the Hoagland home. For Detective Luke, that was too much of a coincidence. Was there something about Connie Hoagland, something in her past that had come back to haunt her?
Was there gambling debt? Was there some type of drug deals going wrong? We looked at every angle there was.
When you did question her family, her husband and her children, what did you learn? How did they strike you?
They struck me as a very nice family. They stuck together. They were very proud of each other. They were very supportive of each other.
They were as all-American as a Norman Rockwell painting. Connie and Larry fell in love and married in their 20s. He was a professional photographer, charming, well-liked, and respected. Connie always had a smile for everyone and rarely spoke an unkind word. Both were active in church and taught Bible study. Their kids, Jill, Jacqueline, and Jonathan. This wasn't a family with enemies. And yet, as Detective Luke dug deeper, he discovered life inside the Hoagland home wasn't as tranquil as he thought. Like so many people, they were deep in debt and facing bankruptcy. Connie revealed Larry was depressed.
You describe a pretty marked personality change in Larry.
A little more tense, snapped more, just grumpy because of all the stress, no money and everything. And I was just extra nice to him.
But the financial strain was taking its toll on Larry. He took on extra work, making frequent business trips all the way to the East Coast.
He was traveling to Pennsylvania a lot, to someone back there named Bob.
This was a client?
Yes.
Bob must have been a big client.
That's what I thought. I thought, okay, well, go back and make money.
So who was this mysterious Bob? Where was the money from all those trips? That's what Larry's business partner wanted to know, so he went snooping on the office computer that he and Larry shared.
The business partner was doing a search of previous web searches, came up with almost 23 different sites of various bomb making information.
Somebody at Larry's office had searched on the internet 23 times how to build a bomb.
Yes.
And that somebody was Larry. He'd been the only one in the office when the searches were made. And there was more. His cell phone revealed a virtual blueprint of a life he had hidden from his wife and kids. Larry Hoagland was arrested and jailed. From behind bars, he delivered yet another bombshell. He had been carrying on with another woman for 3 years.
He said, "Hi, Connie, I just wanted to let you know, because it's going to get out, that I've been having an affair." Then he said, "But I'm dedicated to you ever since the day of the bombing."
I've been having an affair, but I'm rededicated to you since the bombing.
Yes. And then he said, "And I didn't do it."
He called me from jail and he said, "I didn't do it. I didn't do it." I said, "No, I know you didn't. I know you didn't."
But after 25 years of marriage, how well did Connie and his children really know him? From behind bars, he insists investigators have the wrong man.
I did not try to kill my wife. That there's someone out there who did.
You won't believe the secret world of Larry Hoagland. Stay with us.
He wasn't just having an affair. He was leading a double life.
Shocking twist in a story.
The woman's husband is behind bars. Larry Hoagland's facing attempted murder charges, trying to kill his wife. His wife with a bomb.
No one was more shocked by Larry Hoagland's arrest than his own family.
It never once occurred to you that Larry could be behind this pipe bomb.
It really didn't.
Despite all the tension at home,
I didn't even think that he would have been a suspect.
But she had suspected an affair, even questioned him about it. He denied it, and she let it go. Now from her hospital bed, the harsh reality. Not only was her husband a cheat, he may also have tried to kill her.
You've been lying to us, cheating. It's like, I don't know you. Who are you?
He just quit caring about, I think, Connie as a person. And he became so self-involved with himself that that's all that mattered, was him and Leanne.
Leanne Rupert, the other woman. Larry insisted a cheating heart was his only crime, not attempted murder. But for Connie and the kids, their empty bank account and those frequent so-called business trips to Pennsylvania suddenly made sense. Leanne and Larry had a history. They were high school sweethearts and had reunited 3 years earlier. Teenage love quickly morphed into middle-aged passion.
he wasn't just having an affair. He was leading a double life.
He considered that his home.
Pennsylvania, Leanne's house.
He refers to it all the time in his texts to her. Can't wait to get to our house. Can't wait to get back home.
Their text messages at times read more like a romance novel. For authorities, it all added up to motive.
You have been my dream girl for as long as I can remember being in love.
I need you, my sexy man.
Life is like dry brown toast without you.
Can't stop thinking about all the love we shared here in our bed.
Right now, I just want to hold you, naked.
Do you love me enough to make me your wife and make things right?
Yes, I will make things right.
How many times were they texting each other?
Sometimes 50 to 100 times a day.
100 times a day?
1,800 pages of text messages.
And it wasn't just texts. Take a look at all these photos. Leanne and Larry at the Santa Monica Pier. Then just 2 months later, Connie and Larry at the same pier. And while he's with his wife, he's texting his lover.
Just got to the pier. Lots of people.
That is not right. I want to be there. That is our place.
I wanted to take a long, cool ride that made me feel close to us, but this is almost torture. I love you.
And his brazen charade would continue even during bedside vigils with his wife, stealing away into the hospital hallway to text and take a photo of himself for Leanne.
Well, he's at the hospital with his wife, who's been grievously wounded by this pipe bomb. He's texting his mistress?
Yes, 40 minutes after he got to the hospital, he was out in the hallway taking pictures of himself. He sent it to her email, says, "I love you, Leanne, I wished you were here."
All the pieces began to fall into place. While the case against Larry as a cad was airtight, Detective Luke, teaming up with ATF agent Matthew Beals, was building a case against Larry as a would-be killer. Remember that unexploded pipe bomb found near the Hoagland home? They believed it had fallen from underneath Connie's car, where Larry had taped it. But investigators needed proof.
I just had this thought from other investigations, you know what, has anyone gone through his wallet yet? And so I went through all the scrap paper in his wallet, and lo and behold, I found the telephone numbers for the first bomb.
That's right. 2 numbers connecting Larry to the cell phones used to detonate the bomb. Investigators say he tried unsuccessfully 18 times to set off the bomb.
So that was huge, and just confirming that we were on the right track, we had the right guy.
Last April, the man who had led a double life without batting an eye went on trial for attempted murder. During Larry's 19 months in jail, Connie never saw him. But before she could write him off completely, she had to face him one last time.
What was that like? It was hard. I do have scars on my legs. There's a rod in my foot, and my hearing is bad. It's just a sickening feeling to look at someone who tried to blow you up, and for him to act like he didn't do it. It's just unbelievable is what it is.
In court, Connie looked into the eyes of Leanne Rupert, the woman Larry loved so much he was willing to risk everything, even abandoning his own family for hers. She says she knew nothing about the plot to kill Connie and believed Larry when he said he had filed for divorce already.
He was going to move back to Pennsylvania, and he was going to move into my home, and I often told him I didn't care what he had or what it was. He could come with the shirt on his back.
And then, to a hushed courtroom, Larry did something criminal defendants rarely do. He took the stand in his own defense.
Connie asked you directly, are you having an affair?
I told her that I was not.
Why would you do that?
I was being less than honest. I was lying to Connie.
And in a moment of astonishing candor, he revealed his true feelings about divorce.
I never really believed in divorce.
You weren't going to tell your wife that you were getting divorced until when?
It sounds so cold, but I just about when I was leaving the house. It sounds very cowardly, but that's what I was going to do.
Larry's defense fell apart when he explained how those phone numbers ended up in his wallet. Prosecutors say his answer stunned the courtroom.
They were given to me by a transient that I called Jerry.
It'll stand out in my career as one of those moments where you realize this case is going better than expected.
You don't know the last name?
No, I don't. And I don't remember the specific wording, but he said, here's my phone number.
How many times has that happened, that somebody takes the stand and out of the blue comes up with a new theory?
It just doesn't happen that often.
Right.
I think Larry truly believed that he could say anything he wanted and the jury would believe him.
But they didn't.
Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of the crime of attempted murder.
He was sentenced to life plus 13 years. Larry Hoagland's life of lies was over.
I love that jury. A lot of them came up after and hugged us and just said, you won't have to be afraid anymore.
Your dad continues to deny to this day that he had anything to do with hurting your mom. Ever waver?
No. Someone that I would call my father isn't someone who's going to cheat, lie, and steal. Trying to kill my mom, he lost that right and that privilege to be my dad. So he's not my dad anymore. He's Larry.
Today, Connie is divorced. She is a survivor.
Connie is an amazing lady. She walked through the shadow of death and came out dancing.
In the end, Connie says she had to forgive Larry in order to forget him.
It's a miracle I can even walk and that I'm even alive. I have a new life and I don't want to think about him anymore. And at the end, I just had to forgive him.
Next, it's a little lie that's fun when you can't tell if they're the real deal or a fabulous fake. From Charlie Sheen to Kate Middleton, celebrity lookalikes.
Get a good table at a restaurant.
It hadn't crossed my mind until you brought it up, actually, so.
The Big Lie continues with Chris Cuomo.
Tonight we've been looking at deception, but now something a little different. Deception for fun and profit. As Chris Connolly discovered, if you're not famous yourself, just looking like someone famous could be the next best thing.
Fergie, Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, sirens who've been known to perk up a party. If you've got $100 grand on hand. Strapped for cash? Well, $1,000 can buy you this sheen for a day.
It's all legal in California. It's high of goddesses, and they're here and they're there.
That's not Charlie Sheen.
I'm winning more than Ashton Kutcher.
It's 39-year-old former stock exchange employee Jeff Barnett.
How you doing? Oh, goddess.
Giving indie movie premieres, Vegas-y get-togethers, and car dealerships a taste of good time Charlie.
I worked at the Philadelphia Stock Exchange for years. I looked just like him in Wall Street, and my nickname became Buddy Fox. When is it enough, Gecko? How many
yachts can you water ski behind? How much is enough?
Are you on anything right now?
Barnett appears to have studied Andrea Canning's interview with Sheen the way some people study for the bar exam.
I'm a high priest back in Assassin Warlock. I'm Hitvar, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
I am a radical rock star from Mars, and I am winning. And I usually say I have to calm down to play Charlie, take it down a notch, lower my energy.
Let's go see the stars. We're going to see Charlie.
What was your first reaction to the idea that you could make money as Charlie Sheen?
I just started to laugh.
Doing Charlie is a 4-day-a-month gig, not his full-time job so far.
I think every time he had another goddess, I got another phone call.
But on occasion, Barnett can find it tough to emulate the master of mayhem.
I mean, people want to do shots with Charlie. I've even had to tell the bartender, put some apple juice in that, because I can't even see right now.
But playing hard Sheen style has its perks.
I've gotten everything from phone numbers to I want your boxers. And I've given them away.
These familiar faces have won the look-alike lottery by being able to play the part. They're not out to con you, but rather to have fun, like playing a royal game of Twister. Total strangers have been curtsying to Heidi Agin ever since she left her burger waitress job near London to become a professional Kate Middleton lookalike. What do you see come over their faces when you begin to connect with like a little girl?
It's kind of always a dream for a little girl to meet a princess, and even though I'm not the real one, I do try and make their experience a good one.
So you had to go to school on Kate Middleton?
Yeah, because people speak to you like you are actually that person. So, for example, knowing their dog's name, and you just have to make sure that you stay very current.
Heidi does it all with a smile, but there are some catastrophes that she wants no part of.
I've been asked to do topless shoots on a couple of occasions, and I don't deem it appropriate to try and replicate that for the royal family.
It's her first trip to New York City, and all Heidi has to do is venture into Times Square, and she's mobbed by well-wishers. Have you ever used your similarity in appearance to your personal advantage?
No, no.
Get a good table at a restaurant, cut to the front of a line at a museum. You're not tempted to do those things?
It hadn't crossed my mind until you brought it up, actually, so.
If it all sounds to you like a pretty sweet life, well, you're right.
I'm really blessed, really lucky, and I'm really enjoying it.
So what if you want a piece of this kind of excitement? Brett Cohn, senior at SUNY New Paltz, set out to prove he could walk the streets of New York City and be treated like a big shot.
What do I need? I need bodyguards. I need maybe a few photographers with big flashes following me around, 2 assistants walking around with clipboards like they're managing something for me.
Did it work? Did it ever? Even if no one could quite agree on what Brett might have done to warrant the attention.
Do you know Brett Cohn?
Yeah.
Where do you know him from?
He's the Spider-Man?
I heard his first single.
The person that maybe I was trying to channel was Tom Cruise.
But while Heidi and Jeff are still savoring their citizenship in Impersonation Nation, Brett sounds a little jaded already.
It got annoying. I mean, 3 hours of doing that and just having people constantly come up
Whoa,
to you.
whoa, 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 whoa. 3 hours? That's the fastest fame jaded experience in history. 3 hours you couldn't take?
Fame is a full-time job.
A job that Brett will be applying for as soon as he graduates.
I think I want to move away from the fake celebrity thing, and if I can, move into the real celebrity thing.
I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For all of us at ABC News and 2020, have a great weekend and good night.